After struggling in his first preseason appearance, Wilson expects to play Saturday against the Lions. Hey, Russ, how do you feel about that final preseason matchup?
Are you concerned right now or anything else? And absolutely not. Absolutely not, because the reason being, as I told you guys, is because the level of practices we've had against one of the best defenses every day, and how we've shown up there. So I think the best thing that we can do is just slow our minds down, play really clean football, and also to enjoy the process, man.
All right, he certainly seems calm, cool, and steady right there. Damien, do you think Russell Wilson's performance on Saturday what's up, Stephen A?
Molly, I'm sorry.
No,
I
it's
know
okay.
we got a question to ask.
Go ahead.
I have to jump in. Because
Okay.
I'm going to say it on national television. Russell Wilson, you're beginning to piss me off. Somebody got to say it, so I'm going to say it. He did. Listen, before we even get into the question, Molly,
Okay.
you stunk last year. You were paid $37.8 million to go away. The Denver Broncos is willing to eat nearly $38 million to get rid of you. And you sitting there fighting for a starting job with Justin Fields. You ain't fighting for no starting job with Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or somebody. It's Justin Fields you're starting for a job with. And he's sitting there with some smile on his face, talking about, everybody just need to relax. You ain't Aaron Rodgers. You don't get to say that. You better show up. You wearing the black and gold now. You a Steeler. I said it last year, I'm going to say it again. The only damn thing good that you brought to Denver was Sierra. That was it. And you just stop it. All of this smiling and going over and getting along and all of this other stuff. I don't want to hear that stuff from him. Too cool for school. You fight for your career. Act like it, Russell Wilson. Act like it. I don't know about y'all. I don't understand how it's cool for you to sit up there with a smile on your face. You're a Super Bowl champion. You've been to 2 Super Bowls in your career. You're a 9-time Pro Bowler. You are fighting for your career.
SA.
With Justin Fields, who I think got a lot of promise. But you fight with Justin Fields, and he is smiling like he got his beautiful wife next to him, and you're about to go to a Taylor Swift concert or something. No! You compete for the damn job. Just go ahead, y'all. I'm
real
scared
quick,
of what else I'm going to say about that man.
Real quick.
He's really pissing me off.
Real quick, before I kick
really
it to
is.
Damien, tell me this, Stephen A. What would you have liked to hear from him in that moment?
And listen, what he's saying outside of everybody just need to relax, outside of that, everything he said was fine. Molly, is the combination of that and the apparent nonchalance. I ain't got nothing to worry about, and we going to be just fine. No! There's nothing about your recent history that allows you to walk around like there is no degree of urgency.
Yeah.
One of the most popular moments that I've ever experienced as a Steelers fan was years ago. Damien, do y'all remember when the Steelers years ago started off 0-4? They were losing games.
Sure.
The season was over damn near by the time it started. And I remember a game in that 4th loss, Molly, the players were walking off the field. And Mike Tomlin was going in each one of their faces as they were walking off the field, like stopping them and looking at them and looking at their eyes, because he wanted to see, did you give up? Do you understand the urgency of the moment? How serious are you taking this? And I loved him even more from that moment. Russell Wilson walks around to me like somebody who's entitled. He's beginning to really tick me off. He's fighting for his career here. Act like it, damn it. Act like it.
Damien?
Everything what Stephen A. said is absolutely correct. He's absolutely correct. I love the point he made of, bro, the Denver Broncos paid you a boatload of money to go away.
Yeah.
That's what Sean Payton thinks of you. Like, that's what the league thinks of you. Like, no one wants you on their roster, and you are competing with Justin Fields, who also got jettisoned away from the Chicago Bears. Now, in my opinion, I would go with Justin Fields, because when I look at the 2 quarterbacks, they both have flaws in their game.
Yep.
But at least with Justin Fields, I know one thing that defensive coordinators have to game plan for, and that is his tremendous athletic ability, his ability to run the ball, run with the football. Like, if you look at the Bears last year, I know people want to, talk about his inability as far as passing the football, but the Chicago Bears averaged like 166 rushing yards per game. That is a tool combined with the way the Pittsburgh Steelers play defense. You can win games playing running the football and playing great defense. Russell Wilson, what does he really bring to the table? We know who he is. We've seen it now for 2 or 3 years what Russell Wilson is. He's a diminished athlete that takes sacks, turns the ball over. That's not going to cut it in the National Football League. So if I'm going to pick between two flawed quarterbacks, give me the quarterback that has a lot more upside and a hell of a lot more athletic ability in Justin Fields.
Would he have wanted to hear from Russell?
Yeah.
The word that popped in my mind was authenticity. Like, to Stephen A's point, it was almost one of those scripted responses that, many people could sit there and say, hey, we just have to go out there and play together. There is the element of like, dude, do you want this job or not? Do you want to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers and potentially, resurrect your career or not? So there is like the desire, and that's been for a long time with Russ, it seems like, for some authenticity. I've said this for weeks now. I would start Justin Fields. What is going to happen Saturday for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have this revelation about who Russell is? We got 10 years of empirical data. We got 2 years in Denver. They've got 20-something practices in this preseason. What is going to be so different that you're going to go, no question that's the guy over Justin Fields? To Wood's point, and I've said this, like, they're both flawed. They both are. But, Stephen A., you're a Steelers guy. Don't you at some point have to look to the future? Like, don't you at some point have to be real and go, well, Baltimore's got Lamar for the next decade, and Cincinnati's got Joe Burrow for the next decade. Dude, at some point, you got to go, we got to find a guy. Because it's either, like, here's my thing with the Russell thing and the Justin Fields thing. If they play Russell, and Russell plays like he did last year, he was fine last year. They're going to be 9-8-ish, 10-7-ish. And then fast forward to 2025 March, and you're going, all right, are you going to pay Russell Wilson a gajillion bucks off of a fine year? No. So you're basically in the same place. If you play Justin, you are either going to hit or no, we have to do something else.
But Dan, I think, listen, I would say you're going too deep, but that's what you do best. So I get you. I feel you. I understand where you're coming from. I don't disagree with you. If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're playing with house money from the standpoint, number one, you're only paying Russell Wilson $1.2 million.
Sure.
And you got Justin Fields for just a third-round conditional pick. And that is what's replacing Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, and Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, my God, there's nowhere to go but up. So we get that part. That's what the Steelers are dealing with right now. In the case of Justin Fields, he's unquestionably the future for the Pittsburgh Steelers. We know that. So it's really just a question of when you implement that. Is it first game of the season or is it thereafter? If you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, you guys know this better than me. You might have to take into consideration what he experienced in Chicago. Justin Fields was the second most sacked quarterback over the last 2 years. He was sacked 99 times. You know there was only one person sacked more than him?
Russ.
It was Russell Wilson with 100. The Pittsburgh Steelers have the 2 most sacked quarterbacks in the National Football League over the last 2 years. Here's the thing. Justin Fields is young, and so one can make the argument with Eberflus, who's a defensive-minded coach. It might be one of those situations where you need him under Arthur Smith, let him get his tutelage, let him hone his skills a little bit, get him ready, because once you throw him in there, you're certainly not taking him out because he's the future. So the question now is, how soon do you implement that future plan, those future plans?
Now.
That depends on Russell Wilson. And when I see Russell Wilson walking around devoid of the level of urgency that you want to see from him, particularly knowing who Steeler Nation is, what this franchise represents, how the standard is supposed to be the standard, and what you're supplanting, what you're replacing in terms of what they had last year. Again, Dan, I'm not saying you don't do it with Justin Fields now. I'm saying let's understand the biggest reason why. The biggest reason why is because of Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson didn't play the first preseason game. He played the second game against the Buffalo Bills. He had 5 drives. He had 3 3-and-outs. And, oh, by the way, didn't score a single damn point. How in the hell are you cool talking to the media like calm down, relax? Who do you think you are? Have you not been watching you? This is how we know that life has gotten real comfortable for him, that he ain't going home and really, really watching film, at least of himself. Because if you watch yourself, there's no way you going to show up in Pittsburgh acting all nonchalant like everything is cool. You need to show up with a level of urgency, understanding your job is on the line. You haven't done a damn thing yet. You got a lot to prove. He needs to act like it. And because of that is what would expedite the whole Justin Fields being handed the baton more so than anything else. I could wait a few weeks before I did that with Justin Fields. If I got better from Russell Wilson, what I don't want is Russell Wilson to contaminate the rest of the Steelers with that nonchalance and everything's going to be cool and we scoring 11 points a game or something, but it's going to be all right, relax, like Aaron Rodgers. You don't get to do that because you ain't Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, so like my perception of this all is I think you play Justin Fields, it's even remotely close, Stephen A. I don't think you can start Russell Wilson with the thought process of, hey, we're going to start him, but we're going to hope to go to Justin at some point. Because here's, in my opinion, if you start Russell and it comes to the point, which I think it would, where you got to go to Justin, then what do you do to Russell? And there's
Throw him away.
What?
Throw him away. What do you mean? What do you do with Russell Wilson?
So
Send his ass home. That's what you do.
So you're cut him. You cut him in October type of thing?
I'm not talking about cut him in October. I'm saying it's about the season. He's on the roster for the rest of the season. You ain't.
I don't think you can start him and then bench him. I don't think you can start him and then bench him. I don't think that goes well in the locker room. My opinion.
I think he's the easiest guy. I think. Hold on, please. I'll stop with that. Stop with the locker room stuff. He's the easiest person in the world to bench because everything is peachy keen. Oh, the sun's gonna shine tomorrow. Everything's gonna be all right. Good. So you can understand if you stink up the joint and you get benched, you earn getting benched.
I don't think it goes that well.
Stephen A., let me ask you this question.
Yeah, man.
Don't you think we know what Russell Wilson is by now? We know who he is.
Yes and no.
Why are we
yes and no.
Why are we
yes
wasting this? Why are we wasting time? We know what this guy is. He's not going to get more athletic. Like that's not going to happen.